I'm Janice Fiamengo of the University of Ottawa. A term that I've heard a lot recently and that deserves repeating is the gender empathy gap. This is the striking and disturbing indifference of our culture toward the suffering of men and boys, in stark contrast to our evident concern for the suffering of girls and women. Recently, the term came to my attention through an excellent article by Glenn Poole, author of the book Equality for Men, which I highly recommend. In the article, Poole talks about the manner in which mainstream news sources ignore harms to men and boys, even when reporting on specific incidents or statistics in which their suffering would seem unavoidable. He points out that, for example, when a large number of men are killed, the media report on people killed. The sex of the victims becomes invisible. When women or girls are killed, in contrast, they are rarely, if ever, referred to as people. Their femaleness becomes part of the story because it is news when women and girls are harmed. It's not news when men and boys are killed or injured. Poole mentions, for example, that 9 out of 10 victims of police-related deaths are of men. 97% of workplace fatalities are male. The U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness has estimated that 75% of homeless individuals are male. Men are 4 to 5 times more likely than women to commit suicide. 8 out of 10 violent deaths worldwide are male. Now imagine a scenario in which 97% of workplace fatalities were female. Imagine the widespread distress, outrage, the front-page news reports, and the ensuing special programs, workshops, task forces, panel discussions, royal commissions, government reports, emergency measures, and so on. Imagine the unmitigated outpouring of concern by both men and women. But it doesn't come for men. The 97% of workplace fatalities are not news. Why not? Well, why does our society have so much more trouble caring when men and boys suffer and die? Glenn Poole argues that we are all, men and women, collectively more tolerant of the harm that happens to men and boys. We simply value the lives of women more. That's why Poole points out that when approximately 95% of the UK prison population is male, we have gendered initiatives to reduce the impact of prison on women, but no gendered initiatives to reduce the impact of prison on men. That's why when Boko Haram captured Nigerian girls to be forced into sex slavery last year, a massive protest involving the First Lady of the United States was joined by leaders around the world demanding their return. Boys are routinely captured by Boko Haram to be used as child soldiers, abused and enslaved, and there's no similar outcry. What's more, boys and men are routinely slaughtered by Boko Haram, and it's barely news. Why this dearth of social concern? Partly it is the result of 50 years of feminist advocacy stressing male evil and women's innocent victimization. We're so used to thinking of women as the ones who suffer and men as the ones who cause the suffering that we can't really see male suffering. Feminism has always been about man's inhumanity to woman, and as a result, feminists and the rest of us don't recognize the full humanity of men. But feminism didn't create this asymmetrical concern out of nothing. It was already there in the DNA of our culture. Women and children first. Throughout history, men have died in war or sacrificed their bodies in labor so that women could be protected. In earlier times, the survival of the human race was predicated on the protection of women. And this was the genius of feminism, that it took an already existing concern for women and exploited it to women's advantage, all the while pretending that feminism opposed everything traditional society had meant for women. That traditional concern was why feminism encountered so little concerted resistance and why so many men supported feminist demands. And it's why even non-feminists have trouble getting passionate about men's issues today. As Poole says, it should matter to us deeply that our society takes the suffering of our sons, brothers, fathers, uncles, grandfathers, and male friends with such indifference. So let's close the gender empathy gap. We can't claim to care about true equality until we do.